Will humanity ever truly migrate to Mars? It sounds like a dream straight out of science fiction, but little by little, science is catching up. If one day we hope to call the red planet our second home, what challenges must we overcome first? What you're seeing right now, this is real Mars. Among all the planets in our solar system, Mars is the one most similar to Earth. That's why scientists believe it may be humanity's most promising candidate for a second Earth. So far, we've launched 46 probes to Mars. Thanks to the data they sent back, we now have a fairly clear picture of its surface and environment. But a picture is not the same as living there. The big question remains, can humans actually survive on Mars? And if so, what problems must we solve first? In our solar system, there are 4 terrestrial planets: Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. If humanity ever builds a second home, the choices are obvious: Mercury, Venus, or Mars. Mercury is far too close to the sun and has no atmosphere, utterly inhospitable. Venus suffers from an extreme greenhouse effect, constant sulfuric acid rain, and crushing heat. Again, impossible for humans. That leaves only Mars. Mars, thankfully, isn't as hostile as those two. In fact, it shares surprising similarities with Earth. At its closest, Mars is about 54.6 million kilometers away. Difficult, yes, but reachable. A day on Mars lasts 24 hours and 39 minutes, almost identical to Earth. But a Martian year equals 687 Earth days. Its tilted axis, like Earth's, gives Mars 4 distinct seasons. The average temperature is a freezing -60 degrees Celsius, but at the equator under direct sunlight, daytime highs can reach a comfortable 20 degrees Celsius. That gives humanity real hope. But the climate is thin, the air is weak, and radiation from the sun constantly bombards the planet. Without protection, humans would need habitats underground or shielded domes just to survive daily life. So what are the biggest obstacles? Oxygen, water, food, and also protection from radiation and low gravity. First, oxygen. Mars has traces of oxygen in its atmosphere, but far too little for humans to breathe. That means we must create our own oxygen. Scientists suggest large-scale cultivation of plants and crops, which can convert Mars's carbon dioxide into oxygen. But the challenge is, how can we make these plants grow strong and healthy in such a harsh environment? Second, water. Water is life. Without it, humans cannot survive. Fortunately, data from Mars probes show that massive ice caps exist at its poles. But the temperatures there are brutally cold, uninhabitable for humans. Recent discoveries reveal glaciers buried just beneath the surface, sometimes only a meter deep. These could become an accessible water source. Even more exciting, deep underground, around 10 kilometers down, there may be vast reserves of liquid water, enough to cover the entire planet. Unlocking that resource could be revolutionary. Third, food. We cannot rely on shipments from Earth forever. The cost is enormous, and supplies would always be limited. So Mars colonists must develop a closed ecological system, where plants provide oxygen and food, while microbes and insects recycle waste into nutrients. This cycle could make life on Mars self-sustaining. China's Lunar Palace 1 experiment already proved this concept. 3 people lived for 105 days inside a sealed habitat, supported by plants and microbes. It worked, but there are other hidden dangers. Mars has only about 1/3 of Earth's gravity. No one knows how human bones, muscles, and long-term health will react after years on such a planet. And the constant radiation, without a protective magnetic field like Earth's, could pose risks of cancer and genetic damage. These are questions science must answer before permanent colonies can thrive. Future Mars explorers will need to stay there for at least 300 days before returning to Earth. Why? Because Mars and Earth orbit the Sun at different speeds. Only once every 26 months do they align closely enough to make the trip back possible. Miss that window, and astronauts must wait 2 more years. Clearly, colonizing Mars won't be easy. There are countless unknowns ahead. After all, no human has set foot on the red planet yet. All of this is still theory. Who knows what surprises or dangers await us there? But one thing is certain. With rapid advances in science and technology, it's only a matter of time before humans stand on Martian soil. And when that day comes, life will never be the same. Just imagine it. Waking up under a Martian sunrise, walking across red sand, looking at Earth as a tiny star in the night sky. Living on Mars may be the most daring chapter in human history. So let me ask you, if you had the chance, what's the very first thing you'd want to do on Mars?